What's up, guys? Another episode of Know Your Worth TV. I'm your host, Steve Frank Lozada. And as always, if you're watching for the second, third time, I appreciate the love. Make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button because, listen, it doesn't cost you anything. That's the only way that I can continue to put on for this platform. If this is your first time watching, we got plenty of videos with dope entrepreneurs that are sharing their stories to empower, educate, and elevate you. So make sure that you go and watch some of those videos, show some love, share with somebody that can just, use this empowerment. But today, we got somebody, man. Listen, this dude right here, I've been watching this dude for some years. I don't even know if he knows I've been watching him, but he's been amazing in the community, an entrepreneur, and I know he has a hell of a story that would really elevate, educate, and empower you. So, Mr. Marquis McKenzie, what's up, man?
What's going on, bro? How you doing?
Hey, not much, man. Listen, I'm just honored to be here, just sitting down with you and just asking these questions, man, and kind of get to know more about you. So before we get started, man, let people know who you are. Who is Marquis McKenzie?
Definitely. Well, before I do that, I definitely want to say I'm more honored to be on your platform, and I think it's something great that you're doing.
I appreciate it.
Born and raised in Orlando, Florida. A lot of people know me as the Dirt Master. I'm just an all-around kid, who made a mistake and definitely trying to change that and making others' life better.
Dope, man. So let's get started. The Dirt Master. What is the Dirt Master? What kind of business is that? How did it all get started for you? What does it mean to you?
Right. So the Dirt Master is a residential construction and commercial cleaning company that we started in 2015. I had a passion for cleaning, and I discovered that passion for cleaning when I got incarcerated. At the age of 15, I made a poor decision that led me to be took out of the juvenile system and charged as an adult. In the midst of that time of being incarcerated, for some reason, God's willing, God's power, I was the houseman from the time I was in the county jail. And even when I got transferred to the actual prison, my job assignment was the house. I had to make sure that the house was clean, the dorm was clean at all times. And in the midst of that, I was at a youth camp, and the camp was just so bad, fights, a lot of stuff going on. And they took away a lot of our rights from us, like canteen, visitation, even go to rec. And it was like, the only way you guys can get that stuff back is by cleaning who got to clean this dorm. So for months, my dorm came in first place. And I was like, you know what? If I'm doing it for free in here, I need to do this when I get out because I see like I'm good at it. I grew a passion on me. And since there, so, I put that business plan together when I was actually incarcerated. And that's where it birthed from, man. I just found my passion with cleaning. And the significant thing about that, for some reason when I clean, it always to make me feel good. And I put a comparison with that. It's like when somebody changed their life, you help somebody clean up, they feel good. And that's what, Dirt is all about, just, cleaning a service and also find a way to give back to the community and clean the community as well.
Dope, man. That's good. That's good to hear. So how long were you incarcerated, you said?
So I got a youth offender plea, which is no longer. I had a 6-year sentence. I served 2.5 years in prison. Then I had a 4-year terms of probation, which 2 of those years I got knocked off because of good behavior. So out of the 6-year sentence, I only had to do 4 years in total.
What age did you go in?
I was 15.
15. So prior to that, you ain't like cleaning. Oh, did you
No,
already kind of have it in you?
no, but the funny thing about it, my mom used to be hard on us cleaning, right? She'll pull out the refrigerator, clean behind the refrigerator. She'll take all the pots out, clean all the cabinets, pull all the sheets out. We had to clean all the, what I'm saying? So my mom used to always have us doing like real tough cleaning. And a lot of people may not believe me, right? But I remember a time my mom used to go outside and get a cup of dirt, and she would put it in a tub or whatever we had to clean.
Hmm.
And we used to have to like scrub up with dirt. And, it was a proven fact that you can actually clean with dirt. I don't know if she got that because she's from the country in Georgia or whatever, but it's something that my family did for years. Like we can actually clean with dirt. And that's where the name Dirt Master came from because my mom taught us how to clean with actual dirt. So I grew up like in a household where we always had to clean. And I didn't like it, to be honest with you. I never did.
Wow. So did that's crazy, man. Like this is almost like it played out itself to just be for you. Um, so do you always have that hustle mentality, the entrepreneurship mentality growing up?
No, to be honest with you, man, I didn't, I think just like any kid coming from the projects, we want to go to the pros, what I'm saying? So, I didn't really see as far as basketball or football, I didn't, think about being a doctor or think about doing none of that stuff, man. It was just sports. I didn't have no, entrepreneurial skills in me. I wasn't selling anything, or, like some kids, they sell candy or just got that hustle mentality in them.
Yeah.
For me, hustling was something bad. We thought that, I thought that hustling was meaning selling drugs. So, I stayed away from that word hustling. My mom didn't really too much care for us to know about hustling because we just thought that was a bad way. So I didn't have that in me at all.
So when you say sports, what was the goal that you had prior to actually starting a business?
So before incarceration, I thought I was gonna make it to the pros. I made the football team, the basketball team in high school, played baseball. I just thought it was gonna be an avenue for me. But at some point, my mind, I started to smell myself and just thought that I was bigger than what I was, and I said, what? By the age of 30, I want to be the biggest drug dealer in Central Florida. I'm 31 and I'm not the biggest drug dealer, so God had other plans for me.
Yeah, a plan. So is that what got you locked up?
Nope. So actually, and I can recall it was just, as a normal teen, just being curious, at that point, I used to hang around guys that was older than me. I used to see them make money, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, I wanted to make that money. And I used to go out and I started committing crimes, go out and rob random people. And once I got away with it a few times, I was just like, I can keep doing this. And, so I got incarcerated for actually committing an armed robbery.
Wow. So really just it seemed like just kind of what you're telling me was you always had good in you, man. It was just kind of the wrong crowd that you got involved in, that led to being incarcerated. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I wouldn't too much. Now that I look at it, I wouldn't look at it as the wrong crowd, or even I even challenged myself to say that peer pressure was an excuse. Because I had
Yeah.
a good family support. My mom still is a correction officer. We had a split household. My dad was in my life. My uncles. Just always give me good advice, man. I just think that I just wanted to make a decision for myself and just do something like. And it's crazy enough. Even though I hung around older people, I was the ringleader. Like they looked up to me to make all the decisions and do all of the crazy stuff. So it's like I can't even say it was peer pressure because I was the one making them do stuff.
So you're 15 years old. Your life has taken a complete change at this point. What's running through your mind, knowing that you're locked up for a couple of years? What was that time? What was that feeling for you, knowing that you did have the support system, but decided to make a wrong, decision in life? What did that make you feel like?
So before I get to that, right, I think it's only fair that I share this, right? The day that I got incarcerated, I honestly didn't even want to commit that crime. I hadn't done so
Wow.
much stuff, right? And I was like, saying we used to go out on the weekends and do our little stuff, right? And I was like, this weekend when we go out, saying I wanted to catch a body. And I was like, the first person that I come across, that's gonna be the first person I'm gonna catch that body for. So I was, I caught my charge on Thursday night. I was eager to get to Friday because I was like, I want to catch that body. If I catch this body, it's going to help me go to the next level. It's going to be more respect, right? And I think God knew that I was serious, that I was going to take it in his personal life for no reason. So, whatever decision that led me to go out Thursday, I think it was meant for me because I still would have been probably incarcerated because I would have killed somebody for no reason. Didn't have no knowledge about the law, didn't know not to talk, not to even know what a lawyer was. Now just a 15-year-old kid with crazy thoughts. And it's before that day, right? What I'm saying? That same week, I was sitting outside because for some reason my body used to always get cold and I just like to go out in the heat. And, I was laying down and I stayed in the neighborhood where it was a one-way in, one-way out. And, and I'm just laying down, cars going by. And I seen a car pass by with a lady in it. She's like very fine. I was like, God, she fine. And I was like, I know she had to go one way in because she got to come back out, right? So, I'm just laying on the ground still. And at this time in particular, I'm laying up, looking at the sky. And you know how you can hear a car just approaching towards you, or like a car is coming to a near stop, you can hear the brakes or whatever. And as I look up, like this lady, that same car is at the end of my driveway, right? So she tell me to come here. So I'm like, man, this got to be a dream. You know what I'm saying? But as I got closer to the car, the lady was actually crying. And she was like, you don't know me and I don't know you. But God told me to tell you that you about to go through some things, but he's going to be with you the whole way. And it's crazy. Like, and just to this day, I wish I could find who that lady was.
Wow.
And that same week, I caught my robbery charge Thursday night, on the night before I was supposed to go out and kill somebody for no apparent reason, because I just wanted to be this person who I thought I needed to be. And again, at that age, still thinking, because I never been incarcerated, never had a charge or anything of that. That, all right, I get 21 days and I go home, and I'm gonna go back, continue to do the same thing. And I think, again, God knew that if even if I was to get those 21 days, that I wasn't gonna be the person that I said I was gonna be. I was gonna go back and make even more poor decisions. I found myself being direct foul. Didn't know what direct foul was, right? And for all of our listeners, so direct foul is when the charge is serious enough, the state can take you out of the juvenile system and charge you as an adult. And it's proven facts that the state of Florida send more kids to adult prison than any other state. So unfortunately, I fell up under those circumstances. And honestly, it was like a emotional roller coaster. I didn't know what to think. It was like prison. What was going through my head was, in Florida, we got those signs that say 10, 20 life. So at the
Yep.
age of 15, I knew that I used the firearm in the commission of a crime. So that was 10 years. So I had my head set on, all right, I'm 15. I'm ready to sign for 10 years. I'll be young when I get out, be 25. So that was the only thing that was going through my head. So, all right, I know I'm going to do 10 years because I had a firearm in my commission committing this crime.
So you kind of went in like, listen, I know I did wrong. I'm ready to do the time.
Yep, definitely. It wasn't no way around it. I was caught red-handed. The victim I mean, I got literally caught maybe 10 minutes after I committed the crime. Just not watching, aware of my surroundings. A neighbor was outside filming the whole thing, calling the police while we was doing it. And by the time we got to the top of the neighborhood, it was completely surrounded. So I was caught red-handed, nowhere around it.
All right, so you tell the story about that lady that you don't know. I mean, that's crazy. That's like mind blowing right there. Let's go back to it. Did you think about it while you were in there, or just something that you kind of still remember, and years later you're like, damn, I remember when the lady said something. How did it all go? What was your thought process on that?
To be honest with you, it really didn't hit me until till when I was incarcerated, and started to get into the church. I grew up in the church. We was in church every Sunday. Even though we stayed in the projects, my mom made sure we was at church. So I went back to my principal beliefs. It's like, only way I'm gonna get through this God. And as I started to get deep in the church and read my Bible more, get closer to God, and I was like, dang, that's crazy that this lady told me this, right? And what made me even think even more about it is that the way that everything lined up through this process, I end up getting one of the most fairest judge, what I'm saying? And I always, every time I speak about my story, I always honor him. And one day I want to find his family, just do something for them, give him that. He passed away, late Bob Waters. I don't think it was, everybody got their own beliefs and religion. And of course, I believe in God. I don't think it was nothing divine more than my story from that the lady told me that from the day that I got incarcerated, who my judge was, because everybody else, like juveniles, I seen them get 50, 75 years, 20 years. Like they get the most hardest judges on the market. And when I got into the county jail, it was like, who is your judge? Like, oh, you getting a slap on the wrist. And it wasn't more of that he was giving people slap on the wrist. It was more of a guy understood that we were youth. And saying we shouldn't be charged as an adults, and if he's seeing it in us, we deserve a second chance. So I think the whole unique thing about my story was just divine, and God needed me to go through that to be able to do some of the work that I'm doing today. And it still just blows me away when I think about my story all around.
Oh man, that's deep, man. So you in there, what's some of the things that you took out of that time? What are some of the things that got you to who you are today? As because now you're a community leader, right? You people know you for being in the community. When you tell this story, I'm pretty sure people are looking at you like, "There's no way, bro. There's no way." What are some of the things that you learn in there that you are able to now give back into the community?
So one of the things, right, going into that, right, you get in there, you hear all these different stories, and then you hear, one of the things that you want to stay out of trouble because you got to go in front of the judge. And it's not nothing that you hear. This is true facts. Like you get in trouble, they can pull a report. The judge can see everything that you've been doing inside of the jail. And my mind was like, you know what, I'm already in here, right? I know that I'm not going to go to prison for the rest of my life. So I got to come up with a plan B, or not, I'm going to be right back where I'm at again. So I took advantage of all the programs that we had. And again, a huge shout out to the program director at the time, which was John Richter. And, I grew up, predominantly in the Black community. We came across, white people here and there, but we didn't think that white people was really for us, right?
Yeah.
At least we was educated, or even, what I'm saying? And this guy was white, and I couldn't just understood why he had so much love for us, man. We had yoga, any program that you can think of, we had it. And his whole thing was that he wanted to switch the narrative, the way that we think, because if we wanted to be productive citizens, he had to change our mindset. Man, this guy was one of the first guys that introduced me to reading books. I read my first book, my whole book, out of 15 years that I was living inside of jail. And so I took advantage of all the programs, man. Before you know it, I was never locked down. You know what I'm saying? A lot of staff COs, they love me. Like I ran the house, and I had a lot of privileges just because I changed my behavior. Of course, some people say, oh, you're doing this because you're in jail, you want to go to church now. And I never argued, because I knew that, again, I grew up in church. I was going to church every Sunday, so it wasn't nothing new to me. But you do have those people that come inside of jail, and first thing they do is like, I want to run to God. Just for some type of savior. But that was a part of my lifestyle, and I just adapted to what I knew. And I knew I wanted better for myself, and I knew that, again, I wasn't going to be locked down forever. So I needed to go ahead and start setting that foundation, and I did it and ran with it.
That's strong, man. What was the first thing you did when you got
out? The first thing I did, to be honest with you, was I came home to my family. My family had a party for me, right? And the whole time I was incarcerated, and let me take a step back. That's the reason why my time was easy, because my family was their support. Like, my family never questioned or like asked me why I did what I did. You know what I'm saying? They was like, all right, you made this mistake. You know what I'm saying? You made that decision. You got to lay it. You got to get through it. But we're going to be here for you. Like, I never recall. Me and my dad, he was a little disappointed at me at a point, but he got over that, you know what I'm saying? And our bond got even stronger when I was incarcerated. But my family was like my main, like, reason why, I was able to, walk day to day, every day in prison and didn't have a problem. And not only that, man, just being very genuine, being transparent, and just being a real stand-up guy, man. I never had a fight in prison or incarcerated. Like, I had to go through the TOH, which was a test of heart. They said if you scared or anything, but man, people adapted me, and they seen that I was like really solid and I was really about what I was saying. Man, I had people from different counties that, because in prison, the counties are split. If you're from Orlando, it's Orange County, all y'all stuck together. You had to go against Miami, you had to go against Duval. Man, I had people from different counties that like would ride for me if anything was to ever go down. And that was rare that you'll find somebody getting along with somebody else from other county. You had to be like an infiltrator, or you had to be, you was getting used or anything. But people just adapt to me and seeing that, I was real genuine and I wanted change for myself. And, people would come to me even then and ask me for advice, ask me to pray for them, and just talk to them, because they just couldn't really be themselves, because they always had to be somebody who they wasn't because of like the whole surroundings that we was. But I never had a situation where I had to get violent or anything of that nature.
That's good, man. So you do your time, you understood, you owned up to it pretty much. You get out. How old are you when you get out? You're getting out now?
So I came home 11 days before my 18th birthday.
Okay, so you 18, you said you had this business plan. You already got in your mind the next steps. What were those next steps for you?
So honestly, man, I didn't stick to none of that, and just being very transparent, it hit me. Reality hit me that, I'm a convicted felon now. And I was depressed because I came home the same year that I was supposed to graduate from high school. And the only thing I was thinking about is, I'm going to be at the lowest of my class. I just came from prison. A lot of these guys, they got high school diplomas, you know what I'm saying? And when I started applying for jobs, man, stuff was looking crazy. I was like, man, this stuff for real. Like, yeah, you a convicted felon. I remember one time I got pulled over by the police and was like, man, you're a violent offender. I'm like, man, this happened years ago. Y'all got me labeled as a violent offender still. So, I dealt with depression a lot. and couldn't find work, and really realizing that, dang, this record is following me. And one of the things I was able to do, I jumped right back into school because I was like, man, I ain't got nothing else to do. So I started to go to school. And even after a short period of time, after I did like two years at Valencia Community College, and then I wanted to be a registered nurse, and then I wanted to be an early childhood educator. But both of those programs, I had to check the box, and I couldn't get accepted to the program. So I was like, man, I started to give up a little bit. To be honest with you, hanging. I still got the same friends that I had before I went incarcerated, and still to this day, a lot of my friends are. So I kind of started hanging back out with them and started making some poor decisions again. Nothing that it led me to go back to jail, but I just like living a regular life, just started partying, and that turned me into a promoter. Actually, so for like a couple of years, I started throwing parties, and I started to make some nice, legitimate money at the age of 18 and 19. That I ran for that for a while, and got into that industry. So I dibbled down with that. Started working for different jobs, and then it wasn't until late 2014, I was working for KLC, and I ended up winning the top cook in state of Florida over almost 200 cooks. And I was about to get transferred to be a general manager, but my background came up, and it was some confusion between that and with the managers about them lying to me about my raise. And I was like, you know what, man, I'm tired of working for people, man. I'm going to go back to my plan, which was starting the cleaning business. And in 2015, I jumped right ahead to it and started the Dirt Master.
So I think if I remember correctly, you said you had this idea, you already had written it down while you were in there, but you didn't put action to it till years later. Is that correct?
Yep, it was years later. And one of the main reasons why is, again, reality hit me. And two, I remember somebody telling me that I can't start a business because I was a felon. And I ran with that and never did my own research. I just ran with that for years and didn't think about it. And then later on, I did my research, like, hold on, I could. And that's what happened.
And the rest is history. So how long have you been in business now?
So it's 6 years now.
Wow. And how many employees you got to now? Or how many people you got in the 1099 or whatever the case is?
So right now it's about four of us. And that's, it took me a while, man, to really get honed in and really realize that, I was raising another child. And then realize that business was like, saying, like another baby. And I'll be honest, just to this year, man, I started to get stuff together. And one of my biggest downfalls, and I always speak about when I speak at business conference, the very first thing I tell new business owners, man, whatever you in business for, get rid of any personal addictions that you have, man. And for years, I struggled with gambling addictions, right? And that hindered me a lot from growing my business. Caused me to lose business vehicles, like caused me to lose opportunities just because I struggled with gambling. And I had it bad because both sides of my family got gambling addiction. So, it was something that I inherited. But I had to deal with that a lot, man. And it drove me to the point, to be honest with you. And I think anybody who never been to this point, I don't think they really been addicted to anything, but I wanted to take myself out because it's like money that I was losing, pain and damage that I was causing my family. Just 2 years ago, I was sleeping. My fiance, three of my kids, we were sleeping in one room at my mom's house. You know what I'm saying? I was like, it couldn't get to me. Like, how the heck I'm supposed to be this community leader? I got all of these resources around me, yet I'm struggling. But I was battling my own personal addictions, man. That took me forever to, and I finally got it together.
All right. So I mean, it's deep, right? When you are going through something, it's tough to overcome them. So I'm very happy that you shared that. What are some of the things that you've had to do to overcome those situations?
Man, to be honest with you, it, I had to like one of the ways that what I'm saying is like for some reason like I love to dress, I love to hang out, I love to my dad when I was growing up, man, he never had a price tag on stuff that we want. Like, what I'm saying? So and I had a problem with that. So when I couldn't get certain stuff for my kids or I can't do certain stuff, then it seemed like every time I mess up some money, that's when all the big events come. I can't go because I done mess up some money. Or, what I'm saying, nights when I ain't eat. Or, what I'm saying, my favorite thing to eat at McDonald's, most people may eat Big Mac or all these special meals. My favorite meal from McDonald's is a cheeseburger, because I remember times when I only had $1 to get me one cheeseburger, because I done literally messed up so much money. But that, just going through that experience, man, I got tired of just being broke, man, touching like thousands of dollars and turning around losing it, right? That was one. And two, just recently, I had a good friend of mine. She's like a mother. She passed away for health issues, but she was a big gambler. And you know what I'm saying? And we used to always gamble, like, and I watch her literally gamble, what I'm saying, to her last breath or whatever. And that just got, I didn't want her legacy to go down, because she always tell me that, what I'm saying, she believed in me, always supported stuff I did in the community. And I just was like, you know what, man, what I'm saying, I don't want to spend my life, what I'm saying, driving it to the whole gambling, right? And I know I had so much potential. But the kicker to that, right, I had a prophet, what I'm saying, he prophesied. He was like, what I'm saying, the devil know what you'll do when you got money, and he gonna do anything to keep you broke. What I'm saying, I think the proof is in the pudding. What I'm saying, I love to give back to my community. I love to create opportunities, but I can't do that if I'm messing up money. And I think the devil knew that, and he was right. And I couldn't do a lot of stuff because I was messing up money, and I just got tired of wasting my talent. And many opportunities that I didn't want to go down. I want to go to business, to a corporation, but I can't pay my employees because I'm messing up money. I can't keep business insurance because I'm messing up money. So it's like, I didn't want to have a bad name for myself, and I didn't want to have a bad face card, because that's basically all I got, my word in my face. And so I had to make those changes real quick.
And when you say gambling, what is it, like casino, scratch offs? What kind of gambling?
Man, every gambling, man, it started from flipping coins in the bathroom when I was little. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't dibble and dabble every dice and all that. But my biggest thing was playing cards. It was to play Tunk. And that was my biggest gambling thing. I went to the casino, man, got beat bad. I mean, a story I'll share, right? This was 2016. I'll tell you the whole story. So I used to gamble too at the dog tracks. And my grandma used to take us to the dog tracks and the highlights. So I used to do that. So it was a Friday night. My check was $1,500, right? Cash my check. I go straight to the dog track. I don't go home, I don't do nothing. I go straight to the dog track. Out of $1,500, I go all the way down to $80, right? So I'm like, man, my lady gonna kill me. Rent due, what I'm saying? Car payment due, what I'm saying? I got $80. On that last race, right, I put the whole $80 on a horse race. I was like, man, I ready to go home broke. And I hit for like $800. But I was like, out of $1,500, I got $800. She's still gonna be mad at me. I go to the liquor store. I grab me a bottle of Hennessy. I shoot straight to Tampa, right? And I take a close friend with me as well. I get there, I lose the $800. I'm like, man, bro, let me hold it like until I get home. So I get $300 from him. Out of those $300, I go up to about 10 grand. I cash out, right? Go, what I'm saying? It was Valentine's weekend, my son's birthday. I ball out or whatever. And keep in mind, this tax time too. So I got 10 grand. What I'm saying? And my lady just got her taxes for the kids, whatever. So she got about 9 grand. So that's 19 grand. I spend probably about 3 grand on Valentine's weekend, my son's birthday. And I get talked to one of my friends to go back to the casino. 2 days later, I lose the money I won from the casino, plus my lady hold 9 grand. So I lost probably like almost close to 20 grand in one night. And I was sick. But you would think that I would have learned my lesson then, but still back to back, kept losing money, man. I think I'm close to $1 million I done lost.
Nah, man, it's an addiction for sure. And things happen in life, like you mentioned, that to this day you finally were able to say, you know what, I got to let it go. I gotta let go of the addiction. So I'm happy to know that you said, like you mentioned, I'm kind of clean from it. I'm not out here at dog tracks. I'm not out here at the Tampa at the casino. So that's good. You're building a business. That means a lot, I'm pretty sure, to your family and to yourself. Um, you did mention earlier that you were dealing with depression. Are you still dealing with depression?
No, to be honest with you, the depression that I deal with nowadays is more of depression where I don't block out self-time for myself, right? I deal with good depression where I get told, like, and people, and this may sound weird, but I'm always told, like, great job, great job, great job. Like, I get over, and I don't say overpraised, and I think people just support me, but sometimes I'd be like, this ain't what I wanted. I don't want all this attention. I never did want attention. And it's just something I be have to deal with sometimes. Like, I never have time to myself. So I deal with that type of depression, like trying to find my own self time. But it's like, I'm so deep out there in the water, I can't have no self time. Like, I'm always on calls, I'm always in meetings. And I deal with it a little bit by just realizing like the impact that I'm making. But sometimes it get hard, trying to balance between running the business, still working a full-time job, still trying to be there for my kids, and just like, I think I just like, what, I sleep and get time for myself when I'm dead, to be honest with you. But that's the type of depression I deal with now. And it's crazy, but it's the good depression.
So you just talking about a lot of praise. Is a lot of praise from the community because you're helping out so much in the community? Is that where you're getting the praise from?
Yep. Between that, at work, what I'm saying, just helping people with their business, anywhere around, man. I just try to be, because I go to the back to the point. I didn't get here by myself. It was because
Mhm.
people supported me and people helped me, and I just feel like that's the way that I got to repay that work. I got to be available to any and everybody at all times, and so that's the type of stuff that I go to.
And what's some of the things that you're doing in the community to kind of help out and give back?
Man, I was going crazy. Oh, I'm sorry. So I was going crazy, man, just doing stuff all the way around. Like, helping the homeless, book bag drives, and now I was wearing myself out, and I really had to define my purpose. And I was like, what are my main things that I really want to accomplish? And some of the stuff that I'm really passionate about, and it was that I want to help troubled youth who are going in and out of incarceration, and I want to help homeless. So I started a nonprofit which is called Community Outreach Enterprise, where I basically teach entrepreneurship to at-risk youth who are incarcerated, and I try to create financial opportunities for homeless people. So that's all I do, man. Between being in the juvenile systems, and then trying to help and give back to the homeless. Like, for the last 5 years, we've been doing a Christmas event every year where we provide new sweaters and socks to the homeless people. We put them in actual gift bags or wrap them up so they can actually receive a gift. We just did the Super Bowl last year, showed the Super Bowl to the homeless people as well. And I'm steady involved with the juveniles and just trying to make ways for them.
Why does homelessness mean so much to you?
So after just speaking with different homeless people, right, and it's weird that I asked them this question and I asked them were they a troubled youth, and 80% of them said yeah. So I was like, wow, if we're going to reduce the homeless rates year down the line, we need to start, dealing with the youth a little more. Because most of these homeless people was troubled youth in and out the foster care system, in and out of the juvenile system. A lot of them had a past as a youth, and I was like, I got to find a way to be able to deal with it. And another thing, man, I used to do a lot of homeless feedings, and at the end of the day, I still felt like I wasn't doing enough, and I was like, we could feed them forever. That's not going to do
Yeah.
anything. So it's like, how do we provide? Saying show them how to fish. So that's what I continue to try to put myself in different positions where I can, soon enough with the Dirt Master, be able to hire those same homeless people that's out and start giving them opportunity to actually make money, versus just feeding them.
I love it, man. I love it. Man, you got a story, man. Like this is recently you just dropped a little short film, man. How did that make you feel, man?
Man, to be honest with you, I still, the other day I dropped tears, and I don't cry a lot, bro, because I be so numb. I'm so numb to so much. It's sad that I didn't got cold hearted, but in a good way. And you have to be like that when you're dealing with people because I come across a lot of people that's going through a lot of stuff worse than me. So you just got to be known to a lot of stuff, man. And I drop tears just to look at like where I came from and where I'm going. And then it's like what I'm saying. I honestly think I should have been farther than where I am now. But God knew that I wasn't ready, and I would have messed up so much stuff. Like if He would have gave me everything that's for me, I would have messed it up. But yeah, man, that documentary, man, is something that I really appreciate and definitely look forward to doing more.
That's dope, man. So if you got, let's say, Three things that you can tell a youth, a troubled youth. What are those three things?
So the first thing, and I tell my son all the time, is that saying that you got to think before you act is true. So I always tell youth, man, before you make a decision, really think about it, because that decision can cost you your life to be incarcerated forever. It can cost you your life, to lose your life, and it just can put you in a place where you don't want to be at. One, right? Two, I would tell them, man, always listen to your elders. They, what they saying you may not seem like it's the right thing, or it may seem like it's aggravating, but listen to your elders. And three, man, never like allow someone to put you in a situation where you're making a decision based off their opinions just to approve them. Man, it's cool to walk away sometimes, and I wish that I would have walked away plenty of times. But I think we get that again, peer pressure, which I think is an excuse, but we get that on us sometimes. So I always say, man, just walk away if you could. At the end of the day.
What would you say has been your biggest accomplishment today?
Wow. My
I
biggest
mean, you've done a lot, but what is it that you can look back and say, you know what, I'm so happy that this is what I've done or this is what I've accomplished.
I'm gonna honestly say my biggest compliment, and I'm gonna knock on wood with, man. And I just always say I ain't gonna never start gambling. I'm gonna control it, but I honestly, man, I don't got no taste, like what I'm saying, to even go gamble no more. And I thank God for some reason, like that's my biggest accomplishment, man, getting over gambling. And I honestly say that, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do it no more again in my life. I used to always say I used to make myself feel good, like, man, I'm just gonna learn how to control it. But man, it ain't nothing. I think that's my biggest compliment coming over my addiction, man, because that is helping me like really get to the level where I need to go at.
Man, congratulations on that for sure. No, that's a huge accomplishment, man. And I know a lot of people watching, they're gonna thank you for just being so transparent in that, because everyone's battling some sort of addiction. And to know and to see someone like yourself that has overcome so much to be able to also overcome that addiction, man, is going to inspire somebody else. So I appreciate you sharing that. But this is Know Your Worth TV. This is the last question, so hopefully you're ready for this. Obviously, the question is, what was that Know Your Worth moment that you knew that this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life?
So that know your worth moment, right? I think, right, what really helped me define my moment, man. So I got two things, right? Two reasons. So the one know your worth moment was, so I had the opportunity to speak at TSU, which is Tennessee State University, right? And they was emailing like, hey, we want you to come speak about sharing your story, losing your voting rights at a young age, and all the stuff that you're doing with Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Just basically share my story. So all right, cool. So it's like they send me an email, it's like, what's your budget? So I'm like, what? My budget? Like nobody never asked me what's my budget, whatever. So I call my ED. I'm like, man, these people ask me what's my budget. He say normally what you do is you tell them um, whatever you make a day times that by two times what you make a day, and of course travel and lodging or whatever. So he was like, at that time, I think I was probably my salary was probably like $30,000 or whatever. And so he was like, tell him $1,000 for that day or whatever. So I emailed him back and I was like, all right, $1,000. Man, those people emailed me back was like, no, you're worth $3,000 and we're gonna take care of your lodging, right? And I was like, what? And like from that moment on, and still to this day, I don't even charge people to speak. But from there alone, I knew that it was something to me greater that I wasn't seeing, right? And then I don't, you know what I'm saying? So that moment, and then the second moment was, so last year, I entered a business pitch, almost like a Shark Tank thing, which I got to give a huge shout out to Avalon Park Group, which I love them a lot, helping me develop my business, take it to the next level. I wasn't nowhere near where I needed to be at, and I won one of their top grants, which was a $75,000 business development grant that I can use
Wow.
75,000 to help me build my business to the next level. So those two things right there, and I realized that what I'm saying, it's something in me that people see that I need to really hone on into and really like help critique that and make sure that I don't mess up what they see, because people like me is going to be doors for other people behind me to come in and be able to get those same opportunities. So those two situations right there completely changed my life, man. I'm just like, you know what, it's something in me that I need to just like God put it in me, and I can't be disobedient. And if I do, you know what I'm saying, he gonna allow somebody else to do the same thing that I was supposed to do, and I'm gonna be sitting there looking crazy, right? So it was
Absolutely.
those two moments that I knew my worth, that it was something in me.
Listen, man, you definitely are worth every single dollar they give you, man. Like everything you've done back to the community, everything that you overcame, everything that you continue to do, you're just a giving person, man. And I know it stems from your mom, your dad, growing up in the church to know that, everything that we learn is not for us. We don't want to die with these things. We want to continue to pass along. And you've done exactly that, man. So I definitely appreciate your time. Is there anything else that you want to leave your viewers with?
Oh man, if anything is, I always, tell people, don't never give up on your dreams. Never think, special people, the entrepreneurs. I love, talking with them. Anybody that's in the same business as you, it's not competition. Find somebody that a mentor. I got a couple mentors. Find mentors. And again, never be ashamed of your story, man. My story and opening up and telling my story has got me in many doors that I can't even, some doors I can't even talk about, conversations and tables that I sit at. And again, respect people like yourself, for open up platforms where we can come on and share our stories, man. We definitely need people like you in the community to continue to do that, because stories like this, we don't get opportunities to go sit on Oprah. You know what I'm saying? They take us years of work, but the work that you guys are doing, to have these podcasts that highlight people in the community, is something that we need. So people right here in our community can see that they can change as well, that they don't have to look, at the Michael Jordans and the LeBrons, or some people that they do great work. But I
Absolutely.
think, growing up, if I would have seen more role models right here in the community like me, and not saying that it wasn't, but I don't think I had a good opportunity to meet none of those people, I think my view on life would have been much different.
Well, I definitely appreciate that, man. And where can someone find you if they needed to book you to speak, if they needed to book you to clean an office, residential, whatever it is? What can they find you?
So we're on our website is www.thedirtmasters with an s.com. And I'm gonna say you got the first privilege. I haven't even, the new website is live. I wasn't gonna publicize it until Friday, but I'm gonna give you that privilege. The new website is live, so definitely go check out our new website. You can find me on the Dirt Master CEO on Instagram, on Facebook, Marquis McKenzie Sr. I am tapped out on friends, right? But if you send me a message, man, I find somebody in there that that ain't worth keeping.
Tapped
And
out on France. He's out here.
but anything the Dirt Master, if you Google us, it'll take you right to all of our websites and our social media. You can find me there. And again, I'm open. I love to have conversations. If you need help with business or advice, reach out to me, man. I definitely do anything I can help anybody.
Well, I appreciate your time, man. This has been Know Your Worth TV. Again, thank you to Marquis McKenzie for coming on to the show, being so transparent with us and sharing his story and everything that he's had to overcome. Make sure if you guys are still tuning in, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Listen, it doesn't cost you anything. We're not celebrities, but that's the only way that people like us can continue to share our story and continue to share our content. So, guys, there's a lot of videos with people just as great as he is. We'll see you next time. This has been Know Your Worth TV.